Good evening, everyone. I'd like to officially call this public hearing to order. Welcome, everyone, to Neighborhoods, Recreation, and Parks public hearing on the Getting Grant Ready Academy. I'm Council Member and Committee Chair Nancy Day Acauer. I'm joined by my colleague, Council Member Otto Beatty. I am super excited to be here this evening talking about this program, sharing it with the public. When I started my first term on City Council last year, I was immediately thrown into the middle of operating budget discussions, and Council was having to work on amendments to the mayor's proposed budget. And as I quickly began thinking through what my priorities would be and how they would be reflected in the budget, my mind was brought back to my time working in the human service sector with nonprofit organizations on the West Side. As someone who worked alongside and even helped start some small nonprofits, I've seen firsthand the direct impact these organizations have on communities. Small, scrappy nonprofits, you are the safety net of our communities. Nobody starts a nonprofit just for fun. These organizations are formed when a specific need in a particular community is identified and a neighbor or a group of neighbors raise their hand to volunteer their time and efforts into addressing the need. Our city is home to hundreds of these small, scrappy nonprofits who have a wealth of experience addressing those particular community needs. However, small nonprofits do not have the luxury of hiring dedicated development directors or grant writers whose entire job is to seek out funding sources to ensure that organizations are able to continue doing the important work that they do. Y'all got to spend all your time doing the real work, boots on the ground in the community. As we all learn quickly, writing grant applications is truly an art. You have to know how to tell the story of your organization in a particular way that makes you attractive to those giving out grants. And the uneven playing field and barrier that this can lead to means many small nonprofits are not able to grow their program to reach more people. Our city is lucky to have a myriad of programs dedicated to helping small businesses grow and thrive. However, the same programs do not necessarily exist for nonprofits, even though many of the same needs for our small business community apply to small nonprofits. Resources do exist, but again, there's often financial barrier to accessing them. And so after some preliminary talks with Mike Corey from Franklin County Human Service Chamber, I decided that my 2024 budget amendment would be creating this program. It would revolve about starting a program to help even the playing field and give small nonprofits access to resources to better prepare them for accessing grant funding. Thus, once the 2024 budget was passed, we began work on what would become to be called the Getting Grant Ready Academy. The Academy is a 9-month program that hosts a cohort of up to 20 small nonprofits doing health and human service work or youth programming work in the community. The program takes members through a detailed curriculum aimed at teaching them how to find grant opportunities, write grant applications, overall building capacity for their organization. At the recommendation of Mike Corey, we brought on Libby V and Associates to come together and create this program, and quickly brought on Frederica Wallace-Dina to create this incredible program. And the Human Service Chamber came on offering a 1-year membership as part of the program, where participants can access shared resources, attend trainings, and connect with similar nonprofits. And so with us here in Chambers, I am so excited to be able to hear from Libby and Frederica. So here we have Libby Okay, now I'm gonna panic. I'm gonna butcher it. Villavicencio, founder of Libby V and Associates, and Frederica Wallace Dina, founder of Dina Strategies. Libby and Frederica are here to report out on how the first year of this program has gone and the successes that resulted from their program. So Libby and Frederica, the floor is yours.
Go over there. Okay. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Councilmember Day-Acauer. We're thrilled to be here today. We have lots of good stuff to report. And we'll go ahead and, before I get started with thank yous and all that, just celebrating the results. So what changed with this program over the past almost year? We had over 100 organizations apply to be part of the program. 19 were selected. 13 are completing the program. So we're excited to have them here tonight. During the program, almost $600,000 in grant funding was received by the folks in the program, by those 13 organizations. And over $10 million is still pending, applications that they've submitted. So a movement begins, right? I do want to give some thank yous. I'd like to celebrate Councilmember Day-Acauer, who challenged us to create something like no other grants program. She's one of us, by the way. We found that out working with her. It's been amazing. We celebrate her stepping out of the box to greet us and to challenge us to create something that was really different. We didn't have to be challenged too much because of my business partner right here, Frederica. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. So Councilmember Day-Acauer recognized just what she said before, that grassroots organizations, despite the good they bring to the culture and soul of the communities they serve, were not being as successful getting into the more structured funding like larger, more established nonprofits do. She really felt that until the doors of funding opened to hear new solutions, we would not have the success in building a city where everyone was valued. She knew that to teach all would accelerate the impact that the city is having. Now, I've worked in nonprofits for a very long time, almost 30 years, and have trained thousands of nonprofit organizations in sustainability strategies and building stronger, better boards, but this is some of the favorite work I've ever done. Me too. And so we are here celebrating tonight a newish partnership between the two of us, but really this program, and more than that, Councilmember Day-Acauer for her vision. So I'm gonna run through some stuff here, and all right. So this isn't charity. This program isn't charity, it's strategy, right? It's about Getting Grant Ready Academy isn't about fixing people, it's about fixing access. We built a system where community voice is treated as data, not anecdote, where lived experience becomes a fundable asset. That's the future that Councilmember Day-Acauer made possible. Sorry, I'm a little fumbly here. I'm smart enough to know that I couldn't do this alone. And that's why I turned to Frederica Wallace Dina, whom I've known for a very long time, herself a national fundraiser and past funder who had, like myself, raised millions. Frederica was consulting all over the country, in LA and New York and Boston and even across the globe. And she, when I reached out to her, do you want to think about doing this program together? She said, as a matter of fact, I'm just finishing up a grant book called Rebel Words, Grant Writing for Liberation. All the participants received a copy, so, and we're thrilled that I was so thrilled to hear that, right? Like, I knew Frederica was the bomb, but then I found out she had was just finishing up this book. So Frederica created the United Way Neighborhood Partnership Center years ago, and she built them and went across the country and helped other cities build those neighborhood partnership models or neighborhood partnership centers. And that's where we met. And that's where we bonded over neighborhood groups doing really great work and olives from Peru.
And rebellion.
And rebellion. We are both rebels through and through. And so, you know, Rebel Words speaks to and for the change makers at the grant level and funders who seek to fund them. And that's what we did with Getting Grant Ready Academy, is use the Rebel Words book and the methodology. Rebel Words is about relationship building while learning to write grants, and I know that we've achieved all of that. Frederica's book really met the moment. It's written for both worlds, the structured world of philanthropy and the raw truth of lived experience. It helped us build a model that teaches organizations to keep their voice while gaining the tools they need. Rebel Words doesn't just teach people how to write grants, it teaches them how to build relationships, and that's what we did with Getting Grant Ready Academy, right? We taught the Rebel Words methodology. The book used stories and exercises that made sense to both funders and communities with lived experience, making melding the two worlds together. So I'm going to pass it over now to my wonderful business partner and best friend, Frederica.
They're quick.
Yeah,
Do I need to click?
I can click.
I kept looking at Libby to see how to use the clicker. So I have so many really great stories and thoughts about just this whole program and working with everyone and getting to work with Libby and meeting the council person. And it has just been really magnificent. It's been magnificent to see community-based organizations be able to get in the circle of philanthropy, because that's important. A lived experience is experience. And so Rebel Words was written off of that thought. And how do we meld that together? And the methodology is, it's about us reimagining not what we fund, but how we listen and how we learn and how we write together for the future. And so a lot of times in philanthropy, it's two sides. It's a us and them. And in this methodology, there is no us, there is no them, there's we. And so that's what we practice. Our core belief is that communities are taught to translate. It's really all about translation. We talked about culture a lot. I want to turn around and talk to the folks, right? Because I think I'm teaching the class. We talked a lot about culture and how we recognize culture. And a lot of times we think that culture is race. And that's one of the ways that we miss what goes on in communities, because it's really not. You've got so many people who come from so many different cultures. And so you have to talk to them based off of who they are as individuals, not who they look like or anything like that. And the methodology really goes deep into looking at the person. We use a community-centered funding framework, and it's for communities. For communities, it's about truth and fundable language, deep truth extraction. And so we look at what is really going on. A lot of times when grassroots organizations talk about what it is that they're doing, it doesn't resonate at the funding table. And so what has to happen is that there has to be a translation. And that's a lot of work. And that's why I really commend this group back there, because they did the work. When you imagine the amount of money, like I just don't know anywhere else in the country where a grassroots program raised this much money. But they did the work. And the work is really learning how to translate, learning how to tell what's going on in your world in a language that the system can understand. Because no matter how hard or how much we want the system to change, systems are kind of slow in changing. And a lot of the problems that occur at the community level need to be solved immediately. And so I keep looking at Libby, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so we taught them how to put together complexities and an architecture that would sound good for philanthropy, the same kind of language. And so they weren't coming in the room saying something different than those folks that were living and working in a nonprofit world consistently. We talked about measurement and co-design. You know, data is everything. Data is everything. And so we did a lot of things. Everything went on data, you know, and making sure that they understood, because that's what the system of philanthropy requires. So the whole program is really based around making sure that when folks meet at the table, that they're able to have a conversation that they both understand. And if you wonder if it works, I'd say yes, when I look at the number of grants that this group has gotten using that method. You know, we look at root cause literacy. So it's not just about the organization's learning, it's also about philanthropy learning too, and learning how to look at its own privilege, learning how to be able to make the table a little wider, recognizing that maybe the outcomes that they have funded may need to be expanded. And so it's really a co-investment model. And so, as Libby said, I'm going to repeat these results again. 13 organizations completed the Academy. And I want to tell you, the Academy, if I turned around right now and asked them, the Academy was a lot of work. It was a lot of work because, was it a lot of work, guys? Yes, it was a lot of work. But they met the challenge. And Libby and I were worried at first because we knew that we were going to be giving them the kind of work that you would expect if you went to, any philanthropic grant writing program. And, these folks work every day and they manage their families and would they be able to be okay in it? And not only were they okay in it, they excelled. They excelled in it, and that was really wonderful. 578, $980. And we say that number so kind of like this, but I've been in fundraising now for a long time, 100 years. And I'm going to tell you, I can't remember seeing a program that is learning raise this much money. I mean, it's remarkable. It is remarkable. I mean, when you think about the amount of resources that are going to be at the community level that weren't a year ago before this program, is really remarkable. It's remarkable. And so we have over $10 million in requests pending. Now, I don't know about you, but I want to do a little dance. That's really...
Let us know, okay? Let us know.
$10 million. Councilperson, I don't think that you will ever be able to imagine the magnitude of change that occurred with this program. And Libby and I thank you so much for trusting us. You would see our notes going back and forth, and you'd see we were pretty tough on the group. And,
Tough love.
Tough love. We love you, we're tough. But you really stuck with us, and we really appreciate it, more than you know. 3 organizations received city summer funding. We had 4 who applied, 1 missed the deadline. We'd like to believe that if they hadn't missed the deadline, all 4 would have got funding. Now, that's pretty remarkable. And that was one of the things that one of our personal goals was that when our groups came into city processes, that they would be able to be competitive with other organizations. And obviously they were, because they were funded. We're a movement. This isn't just a program. It's a movement. It's a movement that says to philanthropy, that says to the world that we all have to be one, and that we have to be able to make the table wider, or else we're not going to solve community problems. This work isn't theoretical, it's practical. We're asking communities to speak a different, we're not asking communities to speak a different language. We're asking for funders to expand their vocabulary. When you teach people to name what the real problem is, funders will find tools for those problems. And so we suspect that we're going to have a lot of tools as a result of this program. And so I would love to stand here and talk forever, but we have people who are sitting back there biting at the chunks, and I'm tired of fiddling with this paper I can't see. So
Well,
thank you.
So thank you for the reporting out on that. When we were creating this, the three of us worked together a lot. We had a
Yes.
lot of, there was a lot of Zoom meetings.
Yes.
To decide,
And
essentially.
that shocked
ultimately what to-
us.
Yeah, and it was.
Because you are at every one of them.
And for the selection of the participants, the three of us worked on that together. So every participant knows that you were truly chosen by me, Frederica, and Libby, because we believed in you and knew that this program was something that would help you all be successful. I'm going to toss, Otto, do you have any questions on this part? That was a lot of info.
I bought a book for you, Councilman Beatty. I forgot. I'm like waving at you, and I'll give it to you.
No, just thank you for everything you've done, and congratulations to all the nonprofits that went through the program. We just appreciate your work and how much you're helping the community.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the collaboration. It's been so wonderful working together with you and your team, so thank you.
So, yeah, thank you for walking through the report with us. Y'all have been amazing partners in creating this program. This is one of those things that's sort of like, this is my baby. I have a truly vested interest in that, but your dedication to the program and to the participants has just been absolutely amazing. And with that curriculum, I mean, that was kind of like taking a college course. It really was. It was a lot of work. So next, I would like to invite a number of folks up to the podium, one at a time, to provide testimony. And these Columbus residents are representatives of nonprofits chosen as part of this year, our first cohort. We couldn't have everybody come up and speak because then the hearing would last forever. So we selected three. And we're really excited to hear about the impact that they have experienced as participants. So first up, we have Ruqayya Salah from International Community Guidance. Please come on forward to the podium.
Good evening, council members and guests. My name is Ruqayya Salah, and I'm the co-founder of International Community Guidance, or ICG, a nonprofit dedicated to supporting and empowering immigrants and refugees as they build new lives here in the United States. Before I begin, I want to sincerely thank Council Member Nancy Day Akauer for her leadership in launching and supporting the Grant Ready Academy. I'd also like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Libby and Frederica for the care, time, and dedication they poured into this program. Their commitment made a lasting impact on every member of our cohort. When we joined the Grant Academy, we already had a nonprofit name and a mission, and we had already been helping people in our community. We were translating documents, making phone calls, showing up at hospitals, schools, and courtrooms. But what we lacked was the structure. We lacked the knowledge and tools to turn our grassroots efforts into a sustainable, fundable organization. The Academy changed that. Through this program, we gained skills to build ICG into something more impactful and organized. We learned how to shape our service, how to communicate our story in a way funders and stakeholders could understand, and how to lay the foundation for long-term growth. The Academy gave us confidence, clarity, and a sense of legitimacy. It made us feel seen. Throughout this journey, I have not been alone. My partner, Ayla Mubarak, has walked beside me every step of the way. Together, we've shared the weight of this work. We stayed up late, filling out forms. We've helped the hands of women in tears. We spent hours on the phone with government offices advocating for people who didn't know their rights or couldn't speak the language. This work has touched every part of our lives, emotionally, spiritually, and personally. One of the women we helped came to us after escaping an abusive marriage. She had no job, no family, no English, and 3 children. She was terrified and didn't know where to start. We helped her file for divorce, enroll her children in school, apply for health insurance, find a doctor, and get her driver's license. Today, she's working, independent, and proud. Her children are thriving in school, she is safe, and she knows she's not alone anymore. And she's not the only one. We've helped a lot of families find jobs, register for ESL classes, apply for benefits, get to medical appointments, and reconnect with the sense of dignity. These are small steps, but they are life-changing ones. The Grant Ready Academy gave us the structure and strategy to support our mission in a big way. It turned our passion into a plan. Because of this program, ICG is no longer just doing the work. We are growing, planning, and reaching more people every day. We are deeply grateful for the opportunity to be part of this cohort. We hope the city continues to invest in this program because it's not just helping grassroots leaders like us, it's helping the very people our city claims to stand for: immigrants, survivors, families, and future citizens. Thank you again to Councilmember Nancy Day, Libby, Frederica, and everyone who believed in this work. Thank you for the opportunity to share our story, and thank you for believing in the power of community.
Thank you so much for your testimony, but in particular your story, because too often, data is important, and we talk about data, but it's the stories about the lives that have been impacted that's so important.
Absolutely.
Because I know people out there say, well, why is council spending so much money on something? That's why. Those
Thank you so
lives
much.
that have been saved and transformed. Otto, do you have any questions? No? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Sydney Green from Brown Girls Mentoring.
Hi, good evening, council members and fellow community members. My name is Sydney Green, and I'm the program director of the Bold Girl Collective, formerly Brown Girls Mentoring. When I joined the Getting Grant Ready Academy, I expected to learn about grant proposals and funding and strategy. But what I didn't expect was how much I'd grow as a storyteller and advocate for the girls we serve. One of the most powerful things I learned in this program was to stop shrinking our story to fit a mold. We were encouraged to speak boldly from lived experience, not from a place of perfection, but from truth. That changed everything for us. I remember during one of the sessions, we were asked to reflect on our why. That prompted me to revisit the journey of a young girl in our program. She entered our program years ago after being bullied and feeling invisible. But through the mentoring, community, and love we built around her, she grew into a leader. She now trains others, speaks publicly, and tells her story with pride. It reminded me that impact is not always immediate, but it's always possible. That's what the Getting Grant Ready Academy taught me: to trust our narrative, to lead with strength, and to center our girls' voices as the proof of our work. We now approach grant writing with confidence, not hesitation, and we've restructured our message to reflect the brilliance and resilience of our community, not just our barriers. So while we did walk away with practical tools, like how to frame an impact statement or target the right funder, it was the shift in mindset that will carry us further, that our story is our strongest asset. Thank you for investing in our organization and in organizations like ours, and for believing that small community-rooted programs can create big change when given the right tools and the right audience. We're not just grant-ready, we're future-ready.
Okay, now how many of us are going, ooh, future writing? I wish I'd thought of that. That's an impact statement. Your organization's been, is new, but still has been around. About how many girls do you work with each year?
So we work with about 300 girls each year.
Wow.
And we started in 2016, so we've helped over 2,000 since then.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes, ma'am.
What an incredible impact, and to think how many more girls are going to be impacted with your amazing work. Thank you so much. Do you have anything, Otto? Yeah. Thank you so much, Sydney. And next up, we have Mark Payne Jr. from What Would Marcus Do?
Good evening, everyone, council members. My name is Mark Eugene Payne Jr. I'm the CEO of What Would Marcus Do, in honor of my brother, Marcus Marquise Payne, who is charismatic, ambitious, family-oriented, and genuine, to say the least. What Would Marcus Do provides resource navigation, as well as tangible resources for the greater Hilltop community with a smile. We do things such as community cleanups, passing out food, toiletries, and clothes, back-to-school giveaways, laundry services around Christmas time, turkey giveaways with the partnership of On the Right Path, as well as our biggest event, National Night Out. I want to give a big thanks to Council Member Nancy Day Acauer for the opportunity to be a part of the Grant Ready Academy, as well as Ms. Frederica and Ms. Libby for the opportunity to meet community leaders all throughout Columbus, learning so much like the importance of telling our story, data and how important it is to research and have facts to back your why, and the importance of making funders feel your mission, just to say a few. Then we were able to take our knowledge and apply for and receive the Columbus Office of Violence Prevention 2025 Spring Program Grant, I apologize. We were able to host the Spring MP Empowerment Academy, where we serve 98 children on the greater Hilltop community. The focus of the academy was conflict resolution, where we went over understanding conflict and communication, problem solving and negotiation, as well as emotion and empathy, while incorporating financial literacy. After the kids did the learning portion, we had a variety of activities such as computer games, making slime, as well as cupcake wars, to name a few of the activities. And at the end of the program, we were happy to celebrate with the kids with a graduation, a big graduation, where the kids were rewarded with a completion certificate, as well as book bags and prizes. I truly believe all this was possible in the help of the Grant Ready Academy and the knowledge that was given by Frederica and Libby. With all the help in this grant class, I am positive that the doors will open up for more opportunities that will present themselves to shine more light and pour more into the greater Hilltop community with some sense of urgency, because the community wants better for themselves. They want to learn, and when they want to thrive, they just have to be given a chance. For more information about What Would Marcus Do, you can subscribe on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at WWMD614. You can also get more information on our website, wwmd614.org. Again, I'd like to thank Councilman Nancy Day Acauer for the opportunity, Mr. Frederica, Ms. Libby, for all the lifelong knowledge from the class. And again, my name is Mark Payne Jr. I'm a symbol for Marquise Payne. I'm a symbol for What Would Marcus Do, and I'm a voice for the greater Hilltop community. Thank you.
being a West Sider, that really touches me, thank you. When I started this, these are the stories. The people who have that lived experience in the communities, who have it on their heart to be in the community doing work to better the lives of their neighbors. And it's so hard when, as you all know, when you're small and you're starting out, and how on earth do you do this? And that's what the Academy was created for, is so that we could surround you all and build you up so that you can do more good for more people. And so, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did Mike Curry finally get his, there he is. You want to come up and just say hi? Mike got a flat tire. It's, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Curry, Human Service Chamber.
The county did it. They just don't want to cooperate anymore. It's been a really tough summer and spring for nonprofits, but what you're doing is remarkable. And it's been a really tough day. I just finished writing up an analysis with one of my colleagues on the reconciliation package that was signed into law last week, and it's catastrophic. It's a catastrophic piece of legislation that will affect every single life in this country over the next 4 years. So to go from that to this is a really nice solve. The only way we're going to get through the challenges that are before us and ahead of us is through people like all of you, figuring it out, working with one another to get through every day, every week, every month, until we improve the systems that make things so damn hard. And it shouldn't be so burdensome, and the burden shouldn't fall so heavily on people and families, and now on cities and counties to bear that brunt, but that's where we're at. So I'm deeply appreciative to every one of the organizations that have participated in this program and the transformative work that you all have done with these nonprofits. I hope some of what we've tried to provide through membership in the chamber has been of benefit too, but clearly the real meat has been with what you have done and with the genuine, deep, passionate support that you have provided in the leadership and example you've set through this, council member. So thank you. I'm happy to talk through whatever you'd like me to, but appreciate what you've done and how you've done it.
Thank you, Mike, because it has been nothing but bad news this year for anybody doing work that helps humanity, which should be everybody, but we've seen that some people don't care. And to keep our communities healthy and safe, it's going to take a lot of heavy lifting from all of us because the people who should care don't too often.
Yep.
And so thank you, Mike, for all the work you guys do at the Human Service Chamber. We are fortunate in Ohio to have this organization that advocates for nonprofits because most communities don't have that. Most communities don't have that champion to speak for us, and especially during these really, really hard times. It's hard to find. There are days at the end of the day when it's hard to feel happy with what keeps coming down, and the whiplash effect of you're funded, you're not funded, you're funded, you're not funded, it's hard to do business that way. So thank you for all your work in helping the nonprofit world navigate this madness.
No, we're honored to have a robust nonprofit community to support and local partners in government and out of it to navigate through it. Someone asked me at the beginning of the week, can you project 10 years out what things are going to be like for the nonprofits and the community? What are the needs going to be like? What would a system look like? And I said, if the Federal Reserve can't look 6 months ahead, how is the nonprofit community here going to do that? And yet, the answer is solve one problem after another right in front of you. And I think you heard examples of that with some of the testimony you've already had. I still believe in something that former President Clinton once said, which was that there's nothing wrong with this country that can't be fixed with what's right with it. And what's right with it are the people in this room.
No, I don't have any questions, but just thank you for your continued work. And I was thinking about the councilwoman's statement about people that don't care. The thing that strikes me now, we're in a time where it's not just a matter of people not caring, but they're actively fighting against certain values, certain types of people, and other things. And it's the fighting against that is so appalling and shocking. So that requires it's not a matter of just getting attention, but it's also fighting and pushing back. So thank you very much for your work.
I'd like to thank all of our speakers this evening for sharing their stories. I know it's scary to get up in front of a group of people, talking into a microphone, knowing you're on local TV, seeing yourself up there. It gets intimidating. So I'm glad you stepped up and did that, because people need to hear your stories. The work that you all do is so vital for the community. When Columbus community members are lifted up and supported and enabled to thrive, then everyone in Columbus is lifted up. We are all in this together. Columbus cannot be successful if we're not helping other people be successful. You all are doing such incredible work, and know that here at the city, I'm going to continue to advocate for you and the work that you do, because it's so important. And don't be a stranger to council. We've always got a hearing about something. If it's something that impacts you, come to a hearing and speak out about it. Meet with your council members. There's 9 of us. But yeah, get to know everybody so that then when the time comes when you need something, you've already got relationships. Relationships are everything. So please continue that work of building those relationships. We did not have any additional speaker slips submitted. So we've come to the end of our testimony part. And I want to thank Libby and Frederica, not only just for being here this evening, but for all that you have been doing to make this happen, to help this incredible group of people. Thank all of you for coming on down, because we all know nobody wants to drive downtown and find parking by City Hall. So thank you so much for doing that. Thank you, Mike Corey, for getting on down here, overcoming those obstacles, and sharing this moment with us, because this would not have happened if it hadn't been for me and Mike having a conversation and coming up with this idea of who to bring in so we could make this a reality. And so as we wrap up this hearing, I'm sure many of you are curious about the future of the Getting Grant Ready Academy. And so, and these incredible success stories, it's like, we've got to continue this. This can't stop with just one group. And so I'm happy to announce that we successfully secured funding for another cohort of this program. Yay! It was funded through our 2025 operating budget, and it will of course, be a continuation with Libby and Frederica because, you know, you came up with that secret sauce that makes it all work. And so we're really excited to announce that applications are open. Okay, that's a little far because I have bifocals, but QR code. And we will be having this on social media, on our various social media channels. So if you know somebody who also has a small, scrappy nonprofit who could benefit from this, please, let them know about it. Share the social media posts. We'll have it on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. But for both city council, for my pages, Libby, Frederica, we'll be pushing it out there for all of you so that you can share that and let other people have this opportunity to build their organization. There are, as you know, there's some restrictions. You have to be in existence under 10 years. Your annual budget has to be under $500,000, and you can't have a dedicated grant writer. The program is open only for organizations that are in health and human services or youth programming. And that's simply because that's the sector that we specialize in. And it's the sector where my heart is at with programming. And sure would be lovely to offer to everybody, but we don't have enough funding to do that. But we do have enough funding for another cohort to meet the needs of nonprofits doing this incredible work. So everybody out there who's interested in applying, you have through July 31st to submit your applications, July 31st. So this brings our hearing to a close. Thank you all so much for coming, and I hope you have a wonderful and blessed evening.